In the vast expanse of the cosmos, a being of immeasurable power and ancient lineage had slumbered for eons. Known only as the cosmic architect, this entity had once been a guardian of the universe, tasked with ensuring its balance and harmony. However, over countless millennia, a profound change had occurred within the architect. A desire for control, a longing for absolute dominion, had consumed its being. The architect's plan was as audacious as it was terrifying. It sought to reshape the universe in its own image, to bend reality to its will. It believed that the chaotic and unpredictable nature of existence was a flaw, a blemish that must be corrected. Humans, with their potential for intelligence and creativity, were seen as a means to this end. The architect intended to harness their ingenuity and channel it towards its own goals. The celestial choir was more than just a communication tool. It was a cosmic symphony, a carefully crafted melody designed to influence the minds of those who listened. The architect hoped to subtly manipulate the thoughts and emotions of humans, guiding them towards a future that would serve its grand design. While the architect's intentions might seem malevolent, its perspective was far removed from human morality. To the architect, its actions were merely a necessary step towards a greater good, a universe that was more orderly, more predictable, and more perfect. Selene Kepler, a renowned astrophysicist, sat in her dimly lit office, her eyes fixed on the flickering screen of her computer. The rhythmic pulse of the radio signals, a pattern she had been studying for weeks, filled the room. She had named them the Celestial Choir, a haunting melody that seemed to echo from the very heart of the cosmos. "Galileo, are you still there?" she asked into the microphone, her voice barely a whisper. A static-filled response crackled through the speaker. "Yes, Dr. Kepler, I'm still picking up the signals." Galileo Ben David, her young and brilliant assistant, was stationed at a remote observatory, his eyes glued to the telescope that had first detected the mysterious transmissions. The signals were unlike anything they had ever encountered before, complex and seemingly intelligent. Selene leaned back in her chair, lost in thought. The more she studied the signals, the more convinced she became that they were not merely messages, but a form of cosmic manipulation, altering the fabric of space-time itself. A shiver ran down her spine as she imagined the implications of such a discovery. Days turned into weeks as the team of astronomers, led by Selene, delved deeper into the mystery of the celestial choir. The signals grew more intense, their rhythmic pulse seeming to quicken as if anticipating something. Dr. Marcus Kane, a seasoned scientist with a skeptical outlook on the paranormal, joined the team, his presence a stark contrast to the growing unease among the others. "These are just natural phenomena," he insisted, his voice steady despite the mounting evidence to the contrary. As the team continued their research, they began to experience strange occurrences. Instruments malfunctioned, data was corrupted, and even the most experienced astronomers reported seeing inexplicable visions. The once serene observatory was now filled with an unsettling tension, the silence broken only by the eerie hum of the celestial choir. Selene felt a growing unease within herself. The signals seemed to be reaching out to her, a silent invitation to a realm beyond human comprehension. She knew that she was being drawn into a terrifying game with an entity far more powerful than anything she could imagine. The walls of the observatory began to pulse with an eerie light, as if the very fabric of reality was warping around them. The team exchanged nervous glances, their breaths shallow and quick. The air grew thick with anticipation, and the whispers of the celestial choir grew louder, more insistent. Marcus' skepticism began to waver as the phenomena grew more intense. His rational mind grappled with the impossible, trying to find a logical explanation amidst the chaos. But the evidence was undeniable. The universe was not as orderly as he had once believed. One night, as the signals reached a crescendo, a fissure opened in the sky above the observatory. The team watched in horror as the stars around the fissure stretched and twisted, their light bending into impossible shapes. The cosmic maelstrom grew wider, revealing a glimpse of something vast and unknowable. Selene felt a strange compulsion to step closer, to touch the edge of the abyss that had opened before her. The moment was shattered by a piercing scream. One of the astronomers, driven mad by the sight, had flung himself into the gaping wound in reality. The team watched in helpless dread as he disappeared, swallowed by the cosmic maw. The fissure snapped shut with a sound that echoed through their very bones, leaving only the haunting melody of the celestial choir in its wake. Their eyes wide with horror, the scientists stumbled back into the safety of the observatory, their hearts racing. They knew that they had crossed a line, that they had stumbled upon something that was never meant for human eyes. The game had turned deadly, and they were the pawns in a cosmic chessboard. In the days that followed, the team worked tirelessly to understand the entity's intentions. The signals grew clearer, the patterns more distinct. They were being taught, Selene realized, but for what purpose? The knowledge was both exhilarating and terrifying, a peek into the mind of a being that could reshape the universe with a mere thought. The psychological toll grew heavier with each passing moment. Sleep eluded them, their dreams filled with visions of twisted landscapes and grotesque beings that defied description. They were slowly losing their grip on reality, their sanity unraveling like a thread pulled by an invisible hand. Yet, Selene felt an inexplicable kinship with the entity. It was as if the celestial choir was speaking directly to her, whispering secrets of creation and destruction. The thrill of discovery overrode her fear, driving her to continue her research, despite the warnings from her colleagues. The tension reached a breaking point when Galileo, his eyes glazed over with an otherworldly fervor, claimed to have deciphered the final message. His voice trembled as he spoke the words that would change their lives forever. The Great Awakening is upon us. The room fell silent, the only sound the relentless pulse of the signals. Selene's heart pounded in her chest as she stared at Galileo, his eyes filled with a mix of terror and awe. They had uncovered the truth, but it was a truth that no human mind was ever meant to bear. The universe was vast, indifferent, and filled with horrors that lay just beyond the veil of perception. And now, they had awakened one of those horrors. The air grew colder, the room seemingly shrinking around them as the celestial choir's melody grew more intense. The instruments in the observatory whirred and clicked erratically, their readings going haywire. Marcus, his skepticism forgotten, stared at the monitors, his face pale with a dawning realization. "We have to shut it down," he murmured, his voice barely audible over the cacophony. Selene's eyes snapped to him. "Shut it down? We can't. We're so close," she protested, her voice strained with the urgency of discovery. But even as she spoke, she felt the gravity of their situation weighing down on her. The signals were no longer just data points on a screen. They were a living, breathing force that had invaded their sanctuary. Galileo nodded frantically. "He's right. We've done enough. We're not ready for this." His eyes darted around the room, as if searching for an escape from the madness that had gripped them. The walls of the observatory groaned, the floor trembled beneath their feet, and the once steady stars outside danced erratically. Reluctantly, Selene made the call. They would cease all communication with the entity. The team scrambled to power down the equipment, their movements jerky and frantic. But the celestial choir did not fade away. Instead, it grew louder, more demanding, as if it were angry at their attempt to cut the connection. The room was plunged into darkness, and in that moment, the unthinkable happened. A form coalesced in the center of the room, a swirling mass of shadow and light that took the shape of a creature with too many limbs and eyes that burned with the cold fire of distant stars. The entity had come to them, drawn by their curiosity and now unwilling to be ignored. The scientists froze, their hearts pounding in their chests. Selene felt a strange mix of terror and awe as she stared into the abyss that was the creature's face. It was vast, ancient, and utterly alien, a living embodiment of the cosmic horror they had only read about in dusty tomes. You seek understanding. The entity spoke, its voice resonating through their very beings. But you are not ready for the truth. The words echoed in their minds, a psychic intrusion that left them reeling. You have disturbed the slumber of the old ones. Now, you shall bear witness to the Great Awakening. The room was filled with a deafening silence, broken only by the hammering of their hearts. They knew, deep down, that they had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. The universe had opened up to reveal its darkest secrets, and they were about to pay the price for their audacity. With a final, piercing note from the celestial choir, the entity vanished, leaving only the fading echo of its laughter. The lights flickered back on, revealing a room that looked unchanged, yet somehow fundamentally altered. The air remained thick with dread, a palpable presence that clung to them. The team stared at each other, the weight of what they had done heavy upon their shoulders. They had sought to unravel the mysteries of the cosmos, but in doing so, they had awakened something that had slumbered for eons. The Great Awakening was nigh, and it was not an event they had anticipated with joy. The astronomers, their minds reeling from the encounter, were left to grapple with the consequences of their actions. The once serene observatory was now a haunted place, filled with the lingering echoes of the cosmic horror they had unleashed. In the weeks that followed, the team began to experience strange phenomena. The stars seemed to shift and flicker in the night sky, as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling. Strange creatures, unseen by the naked eye, could be heard moving in the observatory's corridors. And the celestial choir, though no longer audible, seemed to be present in their minds, a constant whisper that drove them to the brink of madness. As the days turned into weeks, the team realized that they were not alone in their ordeal. Reports of strange occurrences began to surface from around the world. Disasters struck seemingly at random, natural phenomena intensified, and sightings of bizarre creatures became more frequent. It was as if the entire planet was being subjected to a cosmic cleansing, a prelude to the Great Awakening. Selene, haunted by the entity's words, felt a growing sense of dread. The universe was not a benevolent place, she realized. It was a cold, indifferent void filled with forces that were beyond human comprehension. And they had unwittingly become pawns in a cosmic game with stakes that were too high to imagine. The team knew that they had to do something, but they were powerless to stop the cataclysmic events unfolding around them. As the world descended into chaos, they could only watch in horror, their hearts heavy with the weight of their guilt. The astronomers were consumed by the darkness they had unleashed. Their minds shattered, their bodies twisted by the cosmic forces that had seized control of their lives. They were a testament to the dangers of seeking knowledge that was never meant for human eyes, a cautionary tale for future generations who might dare to delve into the mysteries of the universe. The entity's arrival had unleashed a chain of events that would reverberate throughout the cosmos. The Great Awakening, as it had foretold, was a reality. The universe was in the midst of a cataclysmic transformation, a cosmic rebirth that would forever alter the fabric of existence. The celestial choir, once a mere tool of communication, now served as a catalyst for this transformation. Its haunting melody, amplified 1,000-fold, echoed across the cosmos, influencing the very nature of reality itself. Galaxies shifted and twisted, stars were born and died in a frenzy of creation and destruction. The entity, its ancient purpose fulfilled, watched over the unfolding spectacle with a sense of satisfaction. The universe was being remade in its image, a more orderly, more predictable place. Yet, even as it reveled in its victory, a twinge of doubt crept into its consciousness. Had it truly achieved its goal? Or had it merely traded one form of chaos for another? As the transformation reached its climax, the entity felt a strange sensation, a sense of loss that it had never experienced before. It realized that in its pursuit of control, it had sacrificed a part of itself, a connection to the wild, unpredictable nature of the universe that it had once sought to eradicate. The entity watched as the universe settled into its new form, a place of perfect order and harmony. But the beauty of this new reality was marred by a sense of emptiness, a void that could not be filled. The architect, the creator of this new universe, had become a prisoner of its own creation. In the end, the fate of the universe was not one of destruction or transformation, but rather a profound change in its very nature. The entity, in its quest for absolute control, had inadvertently unleashed a force that would forever alter the cosmos, shaping it into something both familiar and utterly alien. And in doing so, it had discovered a truth that it had never anticipated, that even in a universe devoid of chaos, there would always be a yearning for the unknown, for the thrill of discovery, for the simple joy of being alive. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider subscribing to stay updated with our latest stories. Give us a like if you want to see more, and drop a comment below to let us know your thoughts.